Hi guys, this is in continuation to the last one where we were drawing the ATM transaction details when a user is going inside the ATM. Now we have reached where the person is either requesting the amount or re-entering the PIN depending upon which condition satisfied. We have given a guard condition, right? Now what is the next step? It happens now if you have to go to the next step, then again the user, now if everything is fine, the user will request the amount, so it will give the amount here, right? If the user requests the amount, what happens next? The amount will go to the next step and will start the transaction, and that is what I am doing here. Start transaction. The moment it starts the transaction, what happens? It will now go to the bank account, right? From the bank server, it will exactly see if the person is having that sufficient amount or not. If it is having, I mean, there can be many conditions I can keep on adding, but this is just for your reference, and how to do the sequencing is what I'm targeting to teach you here, right? So please understand that there can be many more logic which can be added, but I'm not adding all the logics over here. Now the moment you start that transaction, you look at the amount, you say yes, all okay. If all is okay, what happens? Then a message will again return from here that release the amount, right? And how will that happen? Sorry, as you remember, whenever the transaction is happening, we have to take a reply message rather than the one which I have drawn. So the moment reply message is coming, it will go and tell release amount, right? Now from there, what will happen? All okay again. So you will go here, you will again give another send message which is from this point. Okay, now I will give an request now till this point, and I will say that amount released action. Okay, the moment amount release action is done, there will be another action which will come into picture, and that is by saying amount released. I have done a mistake again. You can see here I have drawn with the hard lines. You have to take these dotted lines over there. Okay, so here I am writing that amount released. Now I am not giving, you can put another guard condition over here as an assignment, and in that assignment you will say, you will check if the person is having sufficient amount or not, then release the amount. You can delete this and give, as I said you, amount released action. So you go reply message and give that action to it, amount release action, right? So basically you see that the activation bars, these are in some of the tools who you guys are using may not have the activation bars. You have to make sure that you are putting the activation. What does this activation bars represents is how long the transactions or the lifeline is active during the life cycle of the interaction between person, ATM, bank server and account, right? So this one is the most less lifeline. You can see the bank server lifelines are now and then active. The most active is ATM throughout the transaction. So the lifeline, wherever the activation bars are active, it means this will be active throughout that. This is represented by a thin rectangle on the lifeline that represent the period during which an element is performing an operation. You can see that all the operations are getting on the ATM, isn't it? So the top and the bottom of this rectangle are aligned with the initiation and completion time. Okay, Whenever this is completing, it will end over there. Whenever this is completing, starting and ending is it will end that activation bar. Okay, the messages, now you know what are the different, now you can see different kind of messages depending on what you want to use. You can use an asynchronous message, you can use a synchronous message, you can use the reply message. Whatever we have seen throughout, everything can be used. Whatever is chosen, that may not come in this bar, but whatever is not chosen is coming. And depending upon what kind of tools you are using, you will get everything: uninterrupted message, call message, send message, destroy message, terminate message, sequencing of the message. Everything has a different kind of lines. You can also define the duration of the messages, that how long this message will last, right? The synchronous is like the sender sends a message and waits for a response. That is represented by a solid line. Asynchronous will be in a different way, like that reply message is in the dotted or the dashed line, right? So those things you just need to remember in a nutshell. And few more things like guard conditions, whatever we have seen here. A boolean expression means if then else condition, where it can be true, and if it is not true, what kind of condition you want to give. You can loop it, means a sequence of messages that are continuously looping depending upon a situation. You can put an alternative, what I have put here, that represents a sequence where one of the several message sequence occur but not more than one, right? Like that. You can also use options, which will be represented as a sequence that occur only under certain condition. You can do a break. What is that break? That will be represented as sequence that if it occurs, it will prevent the enclosing sequence from continuing. Okay, I mean, you will once you start experimenting with this, you can keep parallel things as well, where the concurrent part will come. You will see concurrent over there. Now you can just use those actions. In this case there is no concurrency, so I will not use any concurrency at this point. But if there are many, say your sequence you want to show with many people accessing the ATM at the same time, two different ATM center, then this concurrency may come into picture. But we are not going in that details, but this is simply to make you understand how you will be designing the sequence by keeping everything in focus, right? In essence, a sequence diagram allow you to visualize the flow of messages in a system and the interaction between any objects and the order in which these interactions are occurring. And it provides you a clear intuitive view, right? You are able to understand how this guy is going through ATM, and the ATM is connecting to the bank server, then bank account is responding back depending upon the situation. So if this can be made as simple as this, so you can understand when you are designing a complex system, how easy it will be how easy it will be to visualize if you do this kind of sequence diagramming. Okay, so that concludes the sequence diagramming, and I am not going in details of your student course and instructor. In this case, I will say that you rather draw that how a student, a course like this with a lifeline and an instructor, how enrollment is happening, how you are notifying about the new student, and then how the student is getting a welcome message. If the enrollment is confirmed, then what happens? If the enrollment is not confirmed, then what happens? All those things I would like you to draw in this particular advanced section of the behavioral diagram, where we have done the sequence diagram. Thanks guys, and see you in the next section.